Awesome. So here's our badass quote to begin the morning here. Um, Ingredients, you might want to take notes on this. Ingredients for the cocktail of creation. If you want to create new life for yourself, what is it that you're going to need? Looks like there's 8 points here. Number 1, belief. Number 2, clarity. Number 3, focus. 4, faith. 5, urgency. 6, decisive action. Know what you're going to do and then do it. 7, tenacity. Janice, keep pushing forward no matter how it feels, right? And number 8 is my number 1, and that is gratitude. Gratitude that it is done. Gratitude that it is finished. Everything you set your mind out to has been completed, right? Where in here did it say the perfect presentation? Where in here did it say the perfect team? Where in here did it, right? Those things, when we're focused on all the right things, we will find a way to do everything else. And the right presentation will happen because you're going to attract the right people that are capable of helping you figure out the right presentation, right, Taylor? That is it. That is it. And Taylor's probably like, well, I don't know. I didn't have attracted. I had to do it myself, right? And I'm just grateful that I've found a way to attract somebody who's capable of doing the right presentation. So, right, it's focusing on what we can control, but that the belief, right? And as I go through some of these things, what do you have belief in? Have belief in the company, have belief in our concepts, right? And then allow you to feel your coach's belief in you, because usually we don't have all the belief in ourselves initially. And so making sure that you can accept, right? You can accept, Taylor, the belief that I and everybody else has in you, to know that that is going to be a big core of your belief, right? Which is huge. Clarity of the goal. Know your goal. Focusing on the goal. Having faith that it is going to happen in your highest good. I was talking to somebody last night about how things just beautifully happen and how they manifest in our lives, right? And the conversation was, and she said, I feel like things are happening no matter how hard it is and no matter how much we struggle, things are happening that is going to align us with the best possible outcome. And having that faith, right, is so freaking massive, because unfortunate part of it is there's so many people out there that when crap happens, they have faith that crap's going to happen. This always happens to me. If anything can go wrong, it's going to go wrong to me. What kind of faith is that? That's like an upside down, backwards faith. It's what is the whatever law? I forget what is
Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law, right? I don't know Murphy. I don't know Murphy, you guys. If you know Murphy, you got to unfriend them, block them, because they have no benefit in your life, right? I don't want to hear anybody say, if crap can happen to me, it's going to happen. I'm going to get detoured when I take that road, because that is the backwards opposite of faith, right? Urgency. Why do we have a sense of urgency? Because when we get these good feelings like we did a week ago, you guys, 1 freaking week ago, 1 week ago, we were in this room with thousands of people and people massively expanding our minds. And what happened in the last week? This happened. I stubbed my toe. My best guy quit. I got a charge back. I don't care. Not that I don't care, because I care, because I love you. But it doesn't matter. That can't take us off where our minds were then. We've got to get ourselves back to that place where we have what kind of possibilities, Janice? What kind of thinking do we have? Unlimited. We have unlimited possibilities. We have unlimited thinking. Correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sorry, I
Unfreaking
couldn't
limited.
unmute.
Having that sense of urgency, super proud of you for studying all freaking week. And, you know, it's easy when we're like sitting there, we're all jacked up. And what, 24 hours after coming home, booking some appointments, posting some stuff, getting after studying. And then what happens? Crap happens. Crap happens. And being right, accountability, that's awesome. Being on today, having your beautiful face on today, that stuff is powerful, right? You get two people going in the same direction, you're going to get there 10 times faster. So just know you are on track and having that sense of urgency. Most people, they'll come back from a big event and all the decisions we make at that big event, and then, you know, yeah, your car breaks down, this happens, you get the sniffles, whatever, man. That crap's going to happen whether you're on it or you're not. So we've got to just go back and find that place where we can say, oh, I felt that. I felt it and I'm ready to move forward. Demorial's on today. Second meeting in a week after a big event. What does that say? I know we'll see your face at some point, right? But what does that say? It says that there was decisions that were made, changes that were made, commitments that were made to be able to move forward. Decisive action. What is decisive action? It's knowing exactly what you need to do and then friggin' doing it. Quit planning it, quit preparing it, quit, right? You know what you need to do. Just like Joe was, I was talking to Joe the other day and he said, you know, I can't get a hold of these people, so I'm driving there. This person's an hour away, this person's this far away. I'm driving to their house to make sure they do what they say they're going to do. That is a decisive action. That is a, I'm committed to my business. Tenacity. Tenacity moving forward, right, Denise? You got some tenacity there always. I would say like the ultimate Denise is tenacity. That is something that it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen. I don't care how it's going to happen. I'm not going to let go. I don't care what anybody says, right? Continuously moving forward. And the last and my most favorite, if you want to change your life, if you want this to be the best year in business you've ever freaking had, ever, if you want this to be the best year of your health, the best year of your family, the best year, if there's one thing you could change in your life, it's gratitude. It's waking up saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and listing as many things as you can be thankful for before your feet hit the floor. And it's going to bed with the last thing in your mind of what you're grateful for. And knowing, good morning, John. So freaking excited that you're on today. Super proud of you.
Good morning.
Good morning. So having gratitude, you guys, having gratitude when we wake up and having gratitude, the last thing, it will. And you ask me, how does a thought change my life? How does that happen? I'm not a quantum physicist, but what I can tell you, there's power in our thoughts because our thoughts, right, help us have beliefs, which help us have action, which help us move in the direction of our dreams. And so when we think and feel, not just think, you can say, I'm thankful for my house, I'm thankful for my thankful. When you say, man, I am thankful I get to wake up today. I am thankful, Denise, that I woke up today. I am thankful for this cuddly little dog that wants to give me all the love. Because what are we then thankful for? We're thankful for the love, right? This is my R-type personality coming through today, but I know that when we change our mindsets and we walk in gratitude every day for all that has been given, all the lessons we are about to learn, and the amazing year we're going to have, we will create it. We will create it. So that is the beginning of our meeting today. Today, I know I will make sure that that we focus on a couple different things, and every single meeting, what you guys are going to realize, we are going to be focusing on recruiting. We're going to be focusing on recruiting. We're going to be focusing on closing. We're going to be focusing on moving forward and building our team, right? Growth in numbers happens when we focus on the right things. And the right things are the right things. So today, even though what I'm training on is the mobile FNA, we're training on the mobile FNA to help us grow our teams, to help us simplify, to help other people see the beauty we see in this business. And yeah, let's get after it. So I am... Hey, Taylor, you want to share real quick? I didn't prep you for this, but do you want to share one of the Canva presentations with the financial house on it? Doesn't matter the career opportunity or the KT, just get me to that financial house, because for whatever reason. And for most of you guys, I know that you know this. I know that you know when I say we're going to get to this page. So what I want to remind you, so we have a step-by-step, Mike and April did an amazing job at helping us go do a training for the FNA. And we're going to be rolling all of that out very shortly. We've got multiple how to take an FNA training with the full financial needs analysis and how to break down all the details of the full FNA, okay? What I know is the place that we are at today is a place of urgency. We are in a place of we need to explode. We need to grow. Yes, we want to be financial coaches. Thank you for that. And we want to make this so simple that we can bust through as many freaking FNAs as possible. So we're not changing our system. We're not changing our system. We are just adding to the perfection of the system, because that's where we're at, right? That's what the space we're in is. As we grow, as we explode, as we're doing 100 recruits in a month, we might not have time to be, chasing people down to get premium on the board, to get them to send us their debt documents. So what we are going to do is, when we get to this part, this page, this is where we close people on the FNA, you guys. This is where we close, right, Joe? We know this. And how do we know that we're going to close on this page? Somebody tell me, give me a little idea of how do we know that we're going to close on this page for the FNA?
Because we've been asking closing questions throughout the entire presentation, getting yes momentum.
110%. And what else is on this page that's going to help us close right there?
A closing question.
Thank you. Thank you. You are correct. So we've been closing every single page. Oh, good morning, Demorial. I got to see your face for a minute. So we've been closing every page, small little yeses, right? Do you see how this makes sense? We say that makes sense, doesn't it? Or what do you like best about this? Or whatever it is, these small little yeses. Big difference or little difference? Man, that's a huge difference. That's a close, you guys. All those things are closing. We're not just going blah, 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 and getting through it and hoping they don't ever ask us a question, because then they're shutting you off. They're not hearing you, right? And so we need to make sure that we are asking the closing questions on every page. This page specifically, because what's the next page for somebody who, anybody, tell me what the next page is. What happens after this?
Career opportunity.
Thank you very much. So the old Geely would go through the KT and I would get to this page and I would be like, asking the closing question. They're like, yeah, let's go. And I would start the FNA. And then I would be like, oh, yeah, we'll talk about the career opportunity later. That will shoot your business in the foot. We cannot do that. Do not listen to old Geely. She didn't know what she was talking about. She was new in business. She didn't recruit a lot of people. She wasn't an RVP, right? So what we need to do is listen to business building Geely today, if we could, please, because that's the direction that we're headed. So that's the direction we're in. That's the momentum we have. So solution, build your financial house. So we're going to touch on this and we're going to say, I know we showed you all the things. This is how it all comes together. We're going to show you how to build your financial house, right? We're going to show you how to make sure that we've got everything in place. And here's what I know, Joe. A lot of times people do it backwards, right? What do? They buy the house and then you got to have all the money. They bought such a big house they couldn't afford. There was no money left over for the furniture. So now they got a credit card to get their new furniture to make their house look as fancy, right? And then they realized in their neighborhood, everybody's got a boat and a four-wheeler. And so now you got to get a boat and a four-wheeler. And pretty soon you got a mortgage and credit cards and all these loans because they're focusing on their goals and dreams. They're trying to put the roof on the house before the foundation was poured. That's not how we're going to do things, right? We're going to show you how to accelerate. I want you guys to notice something. I'm starting in the middle of the house. I know it's weird. We're going to show you how to accelerate you paying off your debt. You told me that was the most important thing in your situation was to get you guys debt free, right, Shanice? So we're going to show you how to pay your debt. We're going to show you how to be properly saving for retirement. We're going to show you how, if it's important to you, the college savings and other goals and dreams. But before we do that, Joe, we need to start with the foundation of everything. So the big thing we want to talk about today is making sure that you have a budget, that you have an emergency fund. So if anything happens, you're taken care of. And the one thing we're going to implement right off the bat is your life insurance. Geely, why did you do that backwards? Because the last thing I talk about is the last thing they're going to hear. Okay? The last thing I talk about is the last thing they're going to hear. So the last thing, even though it's the foundation, that's what we're going to get going for you today. So let me ask you, Demorio, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, how would you rate your desire to be properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent?
10.
10. There's no other number, right? 10 is 10. That's it. So let me ask you then, knowing that you're at a 10, would you agree that doing this financial needs analysis would be in your best interest for you and Erica?
Yeah. I'm sorry, Gil. I had a breaking audio there. Could you say that again?
That's okay. I said, so would you agree then, that being 10 being your answer, would you agree that it would make sense for you and Erica to get started in a financial plan for yourself?
Yes.
Perfect. So out of all the areas that we talk about, what's the one thing that you're most focused on for your family?
The other goals and dreams.
The other goals and dreams. And as we said, right, we're going to make sure that we're going to show you how to get there. We just want to make sure everything else is built first, right? So here's what I'm going to ask you. If you want to see that full financial needs analysis tomorrow, I'm going to email you a list of things to pull together. You can start sending me some of this data. But in the meantime, we want to make sure that the foundation is properly set up so you're not building the roof without having the foundation poured like we talked about. Does that make sense?
It does, yes.
Cool. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to lead into the next step, which we're going to talk about our career opportunity. And I know that was something super exciting for you. You wanted to learn more about the business and how you can make money and you can change your family's life. So we're going to talk about that next. And then we're going to come back around before our meeting is over. And if we've got time, we can run some brief numbers for you, just to give you a little glimpse of how impactful we can be as a company. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Cool. So if you could stop this share part, please. Anybody have any questions about that process? Does it flow? Does it make sense to you? Any comments?
So when the client is asked what is the most important to them, do we start with what's the most important regardless of where it is in the house, whether it's college or whatever? Do we start with that first?
No, that's the trick. That's the trick. So that's a great question, Denise, just to clarify. But what Demorial said is what was most important to him is goals and dreams, which means to me that he either already has everything else set in place or he thinks he's got everything else set in place, right? So either way, I hear him. And at that moment, I could have asked him, what's the big goal that you do have, right? I didn't because my brain wasn't there, but I could have. Now looking back, I could have asked him, Demorial, out of all the goals and dreams, what's the number one thing you want to focus on? And he can tell me, well, we want to travel more, whatever that is. We are absolutely, Demorial, if that's the most important thing to you, we want to make sure that we show you how to make that happen. That's going to be a part of our more detailed financial needs analysis. And I'm going to need you to send me a bunch of information so we can come up with a plan to make that happen. But in the meantime, we're going to show you the impact of how simple it is to make sure that the foundation of the process is set for you, right? So we're still going to move back to our intent, which, right, is making sure that they're properly protected and on track for an emergency fund and retirement. And when that happens, I'm all about showing him how to reach his goals and dreams. But if I allow him to lead me and I just focus on the goals and dreams and something happens 2 years down the road and he's got no life insurance, is that family cabin still getting built? Now, I know Erica doesn't want to go to a cabin in the woods. I understand that. But
no.
right? I heard her in the background.
Yeah,
We'll have to
sure.
pay her to get her to come visit us. So, but yeah, that's where we're at. So we want to address that, Denise. It's important to ask that question. Thank you. Because we want to address what their priorities are. And also make sure that they know that there's a system in place. Okay.
I think that's good. Ending with the foundation,
Yes.
you know, because on the screen it's at the bottom, you know, I usually start with that, but I think I'll make that adjustment.
Thank you. Thank you for that. That's huge. Small adjustments make big deals, right? It's
Leave that alone.
what it does is it gets people thinking. What were you going to say, Demario? Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree, Joe. I agree. I think that's huge. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm just going to show you guys how we get, so when you log into POL, for some of you, you're logging into the desktop. When I log into POL, it looks like this. For some people, when they log in, they see the app right away. So if you log in and you see the desktop, what you are going to do is go up to the top where it says Primerica app and click on that. If you log into the app, it's going to look like this. Well, it's going to look like this. Okay. So then to get to the mobile FNA, so I will traditionally log into the desktop and then click Primerica app. And then I'm clicking here and I go down to mobile FNA. Okay. And then I'm opening up the mobile FNA. So mind you, we went through the presentation, right? We can get through that career opportunity presentation or whatever it is in a, 30 minutes. So we're still not, and then if they have time, right, we're going to say, hey, do you want to see an example? Do you want to see a glimpse of what we do? That is going to take us to the mobile FNA. So now when we get into the mobile FNA, give me 1 second here. This is what pops up. So you guys see this? There are 2 major risks. You guys see this? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so I'm gonna make you small because there we go. So this is where we're gonna start with the mobile FNA. So I know we just went through the presentation, right? But in the presentation that we went through, there was not the theory of decreasing responsibility in there. So what we're gonna talk about, obviously, when we meet with people, we wanna focus on all the things, just like Demorial said, the goals and the dreams, everything else. But let me just give you a quick glimpse as to the power of the software program that we have at our fingertips, okay? So we know in life there's two major risks financially. Dying too soon and unprepared financially, which leaves families. How many, and let me just ask you here, Taylor, do you know anybody who's passed away prematurely and left other people struggling and they've had to like go do a GoFundMe page or something?
Yeah, quite a few.
And that's without that proper protection. Do you know anybody that died without the insurance and with the insurance? And what's the difference in how they're able to grieve?
With the insurance was night and day difference for sure. Even just recently. Yeah, the family wasn't struggling. The family wasn't, they were devastated, but they weren't stressed when it came down to like final cost and taking care of a little one. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's massive. Let me ask you, so for you, if something happened to you unexpectedly or, too young, obviously, who would be the one that would be financially having to step up and pay for all the final expenses and stuff?
Allie.
Okay. So I imagine that's not something you'd ever want to put on her, right?
No, not at all.
Right. So, right. So here we're talking about this, and this is a hard conversation, but mind you, we just got through a 30-minute presentation. We showed all the numbers. So we're not just going in and going deep fast, right? So dying too soon, living too long. Let me ask you, Taylor, have you ever known anybody that's gotten to retirement without any money saved?
Yeah, my parents.
Yeah. So are they still working then?
No, my dad, thankfully, he was able to get disability with the military finally, but
Okay.
that doesn't cut it all the way. His wife still works, and she's getting up there when it comes to age. And my mom, my sisters take care of her, so
Wow.
she lives with my sister who's in the military and stuff. So thankfully, is able to get taken care of there.
So let me ask you, seeing that firsthand, is it important to you that when you get to retirement age, you can work only if you want to work, but not because you have to work?
For sure, absolutely.
Okay. So any questions, you guys, or comments about those two questions? Those are two questions so what, and somebody tell me or Taylor, uh, did it feel like I was selling you something right there?
No, it's just common sense questions that make me think, and make me feel in the future.
Absolutely. So because you're now thinking and feeling about, oh my gosh, if something happened, would Allie be okay today? And what's our future going to look like? Now we're able to move forward, right?
Right.
So here's the two things that we're going to address. We're going to help you to navigate, obviously, this financial journey. The financial needs analysis is going to help you quickly calculate these two areas. Is that cool if we move forward?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay. I would need to ask you just a couple personal questions, but they won't be too in depth, right?
Okay.
So then obviously we're going to this part of it. If you are training somebody in, put the training information in. They're getting credit for this stuff, right? So this is a fake client. I just, I mean, he might be real, but I don't know him. I made this up. So not sharing anybody's personal information. And it's basic, you guys, right? You're not going to be uncomfortable, even if it's a stranger that you just met, to ask their birth date, their name, and their phone number and their email. Like, this is easy stuff. You're not needing to get their firstborn's medical information at this point, right? We're just getting started. So roadmap to retirement. So what we're going to start with today is the savings. So talking about retirement savings. So before, oh, sorry, you guys. Before I move forward here, I'm going to go back to this page right here. So before I ask you your data, let me ask you this, Taylor. If you were to set up a plan to make sure that you and your family, you and Allie, were taken care of financially, so if either of you passed away prematurely, that there's money there, that there's insurance there to help cover the other one, and to make sure that you're on track for retirement. Now, you might not be fully on track for retirement based on this, but on a monthly basis today, what's your current annual income?
For both of us,
Yeah.
we're right at about 165.
Okay. So 165,000 annually. And so because I know that you guys both work corporate, right? So
Right.
so it's funny when your take home, after your take home pay, my guess is what, maybe close to around 8 grand a month take home?
Yeah, it's not as exciting, especially in Minnesota. So,
Right, all the
taxes and stuff.
taxes, right?
Yeah.
So about 8 grand. And so with that being the case, do you think it would be feasible just to commit 10% of your take home income to making sure that you guys are taken care of today if anything were to happen, and you're on track for retirement? Does 10% sound about right? That's about $800 a month.
Yeah, I think, Allie does a lot of the budgeting and stuff. So she'd be sitting here with me, right? So she
Yep.
would probably say, yeah, I'm sure we could probably swing that if I was able to look at some numbers and stuff. That's
Okay,
probably what she would say.
cool. So that's what we're going to look at, right? And all right, so now I'm moving through, and you're going to see why I asked that, because that's just a little commitment, right? That's
Okay.
just a little commitment. So we're looking at that whole financial picture. So we're going to move through this here maybe, because my computer wants to keep going.
It's plugged in,
Give
right?
me
As long as it's
it's-
plugged in, we're good.
It's doing all the things except for moving forward.
She's not that bad.
Okay. Mhm.
You know what, Joe? I want you to tell Taylor how many times I've helped you with technical issues.
It's been at least 3 or 4 times.
I know that's right.
And every time I do it, I say, I can't believe I just helped you with the technical thing. Like, I'm
Each one,
teaching.
teach one. That's how you do it.
That tells you how bad I am at it.
Yeah. We're working on it,
Hey,
okay?
I kind of feel like that was a shot. Give me a second here. All right. Come on. We can do this. All right. So here we are. So sometimes you just have to push the back button a few times and then you're fine. That's my response to technical issues. So, okay. So now we're in savings. So now I am, for simplification purposes, you guys, I don't want you to get all technical on me. It says 67 is the age they're going to retire.
Mhm.
Here's what I'm going to say. Just for simplistic reasons, I'm just leaving our default age in here, which is age 67. If after we go through the numbers, you want to make any changes, you want to retire earlier, we can talk about that, okay?
Okay.
I'm not letting them give me that information.
Okay.
So then Taylor said they make about 165,000. Now, most people that we meet with aren't in that. So in this situation, I'm going to leave 40,000 because we're going to say it's a single person, and we're doing 40,000 just for simplistic. Okay.
Okay.
So you said you made 40,000 a year. I put that in annually and it automatically populates 80% of their current income, gross income. Okay. So I'm not taking into consideration taxes, which gives them a monthly income goal of 2667. I'm not talking about that. I'm not explaining it. Not in this situation. When we do the full FNA, we can go dig more. This talks about 3% inflation. So Taylor, you told me that, right? you're making about $4 grand a month. Most people, you know, can retire on 80% of that. Can you believe that $2,700 in today's money when you go to retire is going to be $6,500 a month you're going to need to be able to buy what 2,700 buys today?
That's insane.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy.
That's all
yes.
I'm saying there. So here's your financial independence number. I know you've always wanted to know. We talked about that, what your financial independence number is. That's the amount of money that you're going to need someday so you can retire and never run out of money if you do it properly, right?
Right.
So I know that we always talked about, you know, it would be awesome to be a millionaire. The truth is, when you get to retirement, you got to be a millionaire. You're going to be broke if you're not a millionaire, right? So does this surprise you as that financial independence number?
I mean, I've heard it on a couple of talk shows that millennials like me, we need like $1 million, but I didn't really, I thought that they were just talking. That's a big number.
Absolutely. So for training purposes, see where it says view assumptions. This is the one area I'm going to have you guys update.
Okay.
You can see here, monthly income goal, retirement age. We're going to leave all that stuff. Yours is going to default rate of return is going to say 8% during retire or before retirement, 4% during retirement. We're going to switch that to 9 and 6.5.
Okay.
We'll talk about why later. I'm not discussing it right now. Doesn't matter. But that is the numbers that we're using. Okay.
Okay.
9 out of 10 times. If the person's over 55, it'll be different, but those are the numbers. So now what this says is for you to retire at standard retirement age, living on 80% of your current income, you're going to need to accumulate $1,023,000 for retirement. And how are you going to do that? Right?
Saving money.
Your monthly savings is $555. That's a good number. $555 a month. Right? So
that's a major chunk of my income.
That's a major, and for people in this situation, right, who are making 40 grand a year, that's going to seem a little bit overwhelming or a little bit difficult. So Taylor did an amazing job of initially, right, using the, their income, that 165,000 and all that. But I'm just going to go back to Andrew, who's was the person here who was 37 years old. And so I'm going to ask him in this situation in the beginning, right? $40,000 a year at his take home is about $1,200 a week. So when I asked him that same 10% question, it would have been $240 a month. So if he committed to me $240 a month, and now it says the monthly savings needed to meet your goal is $555. How's he feeling?
Like he needs to step his game up and start saving, or he needs to earn additional income or do something.
Absolutely, right? So as we're talking about that, so the monthly savings here are $555. And Taylor, I don't want you to stress out about this. We'll talk about that. Where there's a will, there's a way, right? So we can get you there. But would you agree that having a plan is better than having no plan?
For sure, yeah.
Would you also agree that starting somewhere is better than not starting at all?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So let's take a look at this. So in your situation, right, $555 a month would get you to $1 million in retirement. That would be amazing. And if it comes down to it and you can't find a way to access that $555, would you have an interest in learning how to do what I'm doing right now to educate other people and possibly make that extra $500 plus to be able to fuel your retirement?
I mean, yeah, if somebody could teach me, I'm not good with numbers and stuff, but yeah, I mean, if you could, I need to make some money for sure.
Right? And I'm not good at numbers. Did you see the simplicity of the software program? Literally, I'm data entering this information. I don't even have to calculate. Right?
It makes sense.
That's what I was grateful for. So Before we get going with this, I want to talk about the next thing. And this is what we addressed initially was that dying too soon. You said you want to make sure that you leave your family taken care of, right?
For sure. Yep.
And so let's talk about this. You said that you just bought a house.
Let's say I
What's the
didn't buy a
value?
house. Let's say
What
I'm a
was that?
let's say I'm a single guy and I'm in an apartment.
You're a single guy and you're in an apartment. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a couple different options for that, right? This is the dime. I'm going to go down here. So I'm going to ask you, in your situation, I know if you are a single guy, nobody depending on your income,
Mm-hmm.
do you see your future there forever? Or do you see yourself at some point maybe purchasing a home, having a family? What do you see for the future? What's your goal in that
Yeah.
aspect?
I mean, I see myself, having a family, maybe not kids and stuff like that, but getting married and things. And, taking care of my mom and stuff like that.
Awesome. So it's still important for you to have some financial security. If anything were to happen, you want to leave people better off no matter what happens to you, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So what we do is we're just going to look at, because you're young and you're just kind of getting things kicking off with your career and everything. And so we know that the future is only brighter from where it is now financially. So what we're going to do, most experts recommend having a certain multiplication of your income. And so many will say, right, 10 times your annual income, because then if you are supporting a family or a spouse at some point in the future, you want to make sure that if something happens and your income is gone, that your partner is going to continue to still be able to be okay and pay the bills. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So in this case, the standard that we look at is 10 times. So if you're making 40 grand a year, and again, we know that you're early in your career, and so your income is only going to grow from now. So in this example, $400,000 would be the amount that the experts would recommend. How do you feel about that?
That's a lot of coverage. That's nice.
Do you feel like that's something that if it were affordable, you'd want to have as far as protection on you?
Yeah. As long as it's
Cool.
affordable.
Okay. And so I know we talked in the beginning, right, about that $200 a month and what that looks like. And so, or $240 a month. So let's take a look at the numbers here. So you had said $240 a month is a great place for you to start, which is 10%. Okay. And so as far as, I don't know why, sorry. Usually the savings numbers pop up right here.
Populate, yeah.
I have no idea why they
You can hit the edit savings on the bottom.
Yes, but it should have. Oh, that's why. Okay. So there's two little check marks here, your goal and where you stand. When I was messing with it yesterday, I checked a different one. Okay, so now that here's what I'm going to do. So I go to this page. I see the need and I see the premium. Okay. So $97.42. So I know we talked about that $200 a month. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the edit savings. Give me 1 second here. And 1 second. Here we go. And I am going to enter in the difference between the 240 and the 97.
That's really smart.
Okay. So what is that? 240, 143, right?
That's really smart.
And I'm going to put the 143 in right here. And then here we are. So here's the plan. Oh, sorry, you guys. There was that spot that said that I didn't check. So you're learning with me here. Right here on the bottom, where you stand. That's the, because if I leave it your goal, it's going to show the full
The
amount.
555. That's good. Okay.
Yep. Okay. So now the $240 a month will cover you with $400,000 in term insurance. That's a 35 or a 30-year level term the premium of $97.42. And then you've got the remainder starting, we're going to start a Roth IRA for you. And so as we talked last time, now, you know, if somebody is young and single, the truth is sometimes they're like, you know, 400,000 might be a little much, right? Is there any way that we can bring that down? And Taylor, I want you to take a minute and talk real quick about the 2%. It's a 2% rule, right?
Okay, so the 2% rule is not created by Primerica. It is created by, it was found by, in the insurance industry. They're called the QBI guys. And what they do, Janice, is they literally mentor brokers throughout all insurance companies in order to help them raise their QBI. They found that the average person who keeps their term life insurance policy for longer than 13 months spends no more than 2% of their monthly or annual income on their monthly premiums. So if we need people to keep their policy longer than 13 months, then you want to be able to calculate in your head what 2% of their annual or monthly income is, and understand that they probably don't want to spend more than that on their monthly premium.
Thank you. And thank you for that. So what I did then, okay, so let's say we say, you know, I don't really know that I need 400,000 yet. And so what I'm going to say is, okay, let's run some numbers. You know, our one of our best price breaks is at 250. So I'm going to go in and edit the quote. And only because I know the numbers, and what this is going to take is for you guys to understand the numbers. Now, in this situation, I put down in my head, Andrew was a single dad, right? So I dropped it down to 250,000 and a $25,000 child rider.
That's great.
And in this example, right, on a 30-year term, that's 6857. So now we're going to go back here.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is closer to the 2%, especially if we've got a young single guy, girl, whatever, doesn't matter. So now we've got $240 minus $69 is 171. We can go back and put that 171 in here, and it's going to show them so you're working with them to come up with something they're comfortable with, right? So that's why we want to ask these questions. Like, we don't want somebody to say, oh, I want to think about it because 97 seems too much. We want to work on that, right? So if we get you properly protected with 250,000, and that can always be changed as, you know, your family develops or you age or whatever, the premium of 6857, how do you feel about that? Does that feel a little bit more comfortable?
That's doable for sure. That's doable. Absolutely.
Right? So then what we're going to do is invest the difference. And to get started, $171 a month. Check this out. That brings you 315,000 closer to that million. That's your goal.
That's awesome.
Okay. And I know that you just got started with this company, but my encouragement also is to find, do you know, are you within that first year where you can't start your 401k yet?
Yeah, I'm not able to start it just yet.
Okay, so what we're going to do then is we'll get your plan set up with your insurance and with your Roth IRA. And then once you're able to start up that 401k, you let me know and we'll do some calculating, because at that point you'll be more acclimated. And check this out, right? We know all you had to do was save $555 a month. And so if your employer, let's say if you contribute 5% of your income and your employer matches, you might already be at $555 a month once that 401k starts.
Nice.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and like I said, we're going to dig down and really focus on your other goals and dreams that are important to you and go through the full financial plan. But for today, do you see how this could be a great start to your plan?
Absolutely.
Awesome. So what we're going to do, like I said, we start with the foundation of everything, right? So we're going to get this life insurance. I'm going to take maybe about 20 minutes and ask you some questions to get you guys qualified for the life insurance. Is that fair?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, the process is pretty simple. You're just going to need your phone, access to your email, and do you have all that ready?
Yeah.
Awesome. So look at this, you guys.
Yeah, we closing. Let's go. This is great, Geely.
So we are closing. You can hear I'd already started his application, right? So we're rolling right into it. And for those of you who are securities licensed, right after we get through that part of the close, Joe, what pops up on the bottom?
These for the application for securities
The easy key, the easy
comes
key
right up.
application, right? And
Yeah, it
so
comes
what
right up.
that does, literally, you guys, this is why you need your securities license. You don't got to figure shit out. You don't have to, you will go like, here's the application. You're going to move right into the securities. It's going to ask questions about their age, how many years to retirement, and then it's going to ask the agent, what fund family do you want? All you got to know is a fund family. We utilize Franklin Templeton a ton. I would put that in. It's going to fill in the blank of what mutual fund they're going to start with. They're going to start with one mutual fund, Taylor, that we don't have to pick up this, da, da, da. It's going to be like oh, they're 35 years old. They want an aggressive growth or a growth. It's going to default that information. And when we get to the Easy Key app, all the client has to do is type in their social or the last four of their social to move them through and it friggin' enters in all of the information. You don't have to ask their address, their phone number, it is all pre-entered. There is you guys just get your darn licenses. Janice, go get your
It
life
populates
license.
from the life.
Populates
Sorry.
from the life. It can't be any easier. Throw me some questions.
I know this. We're about to start closing. This is simple. This is great. I can't wait to do this over again.
So
Okay,
go ahead.
so I know I'm filling in for Sean. Okay. So like my mind is like right now. Okay, because but I do have questions. And so like when you guys did the FNA before, I know you guys had to like get a whole bunch of like a whole bunch of information, da da da. So with doing this, it's doing the same thing.
No. Yes and no.
So you
It's
still have to get all the information?
if they want to. So what we're doing is making sure that we're not allowing people to put us off, right, Joe? To say, well, I haven't got my information. I haven't got my information. I haven't got, oh, I gotta, people put crap off because people are human and nobody wants to look at their debt and nobody wants to really look at all of that stuff. It's not fun, right?
And it
So
just takes people a while sometimes to pull all the information together to be able to get for the full FNA. I've had people like piecemeal it here and there, or you have to keep following up to get the data and so forth. This is just easy.
I mean, because it does. It looks super easy. And like, I know probably like one person out of my whole circle who probably has all their information in one place. So
correct.
I definitely understand that. But like from what I'm watching, it looks like, okay, so you can close just on that app. Like they don't really need, if they feel comfortable with you and they're like, yes, Gilly, like I would feel comfortable with you. Like you're like, yes, she knows exactly what I need. She knows exactly what I'm about to do. I'm about to give her this number. She about to tell me what I need to pay. And yes, I can pay that. Let's close this. So I wouldn't need to give you all that stuff that I can't find.
I think especially
That's it.
for younger people who don't have a lot going on, this just makes a lot more sense. For someone who's older who may have kids and so forth, and want to do other things, the whole goals and dreams and all that, it still makes sense for them to pull everything together and do the full FNA. But this just gets us in the door and closed.
Absolutely, because otherwise we're guessing. And what we don't want to do is guess about somebody's financial future. right? If yes, you can use the dime. I mean, or the multiplication of income. Like that's going to be your better than nothing. If somebody's making 30,000 a year, we give them $300,000 of life insurance. That's better than nothing, right? But if they've got 5 kids and a $400,000 mortgage, that's not going to cut it. Okay. So then we have the option in that, in the FNA and the mobile FNA, to at least enter in, oh, you owe $250 on your mortgage. Oh, you've got some debt of $60,000. You know, oh, you do want to help your kids with college. So we can then plug those numbers in as well as the income protection. And just like that, within 5 minutes, have a full comprehensive quote of what they need to provide for their family. And so that's without all the data. Now you're taking them at face value, right? When I do the full FNA, I don't take people at face value. I don't care what they tell me. I don't believe it. It's just true. Like if they're telling me I make 60 grand, I believe they maybe make 80 or maybe they make 40. I don't know. They oftentimes people don't know. If they say, you know, my mortgage is a 20-year loan at 2%, it could be a 30-year loan at 5%. They just, most people don't know. So in the situation where they're asking for a comprehensive debt elimination plan, the simple FNA is not going to be the full answer. It is the beginning. It allows us to start with that foundation and make sure we're not putting them off for 6 weeks to close life insurance because they haven't gotten us their debt information yet, because they don't know how to log in. Right? I was at a client's house yesterday, physically at their house, updating their FNA. They couldn't access their mortgage documents, right? So, I mean, this stuff happens often. Denise, you have a question?
Yes.
I do. Just crossed my mind. But if we do a mobile app and they decide, and then it's decided that it's in their best interest to do the full FNA, is it something you have to start all over again? Or can you take the foundation from the mobile FNA to the regular FNA?
That's a great question. And I'm about 90% sure that when we search their name, or 98% sure, it's going to already populate in there. But then we will have to re-enter a lot of the data. Like their contact information will be in there, but the data will have to re-enter, which is not a big deal. That's a good question.
But with
And
the full FNA, sorry,
go ahead.
with the full FNA, you can, you know, as they give you the information, you can complete that ahead of time. So you're not sitting on there with the client having to re-enter all that stuff. You can have it
Right.
all, you know, done. So when you meet with them, you're just going over and just confirming.
Absolutely. So all this is, you guys, we still want you to be completely articulate with understanding the full financial needs analysis. We want you to be able to be a financial coach. And if somebody wants a debt elimination game plan or a college savings game plan, or I want to travel every year game plan, like, you know, with Demorial, or I want to, however the goals and dreams are, these are the amount of money I want, we can enter all that into the FNA. But we want to start with what's important. And what's important today is we protect you from dying too soon or outliving your assets. That's it. That's where we're going to start. And we're going to start with that immediately and then let them know. Obviously, you saw how easy this was. Who do you know that could benefit from this type of information? Because even a lot of people who are not patient or numbers people, right? That A-type personality, the FNA can feel super overwhelming, right, Taylor? So that is something that this allows us to get in and do a comprehensive plan in a 5-minute time frame or a 10-minute time frame that anybody can data enter. And then now they're a client. And when we come to deliver your policy, right, then we'll talk about rolling over that old 401k that you have. Then we'll talk about, you know, doing the comprehensive game plan. We don't want to negate what's important to them. Ever. Do you have a comment?
Yeah, I think what this is also going to do is build value on the front end as well. because we talk about the FNA, which is nice, and we talk about how great it is, but somebody being able to see it tangible for the A-type personality, like myself, knowing, okay, this is where it's at, it's going to build value and allow Janice and Sean to get paid, and also help a client at the same time too. So this is really exciting. And you talked about it at the front end, Gili, though, that we're not changing the system. We just need to make this duplicatable, because we're going to be recruiting a lot of people within this hierarchy over the next 12 months. So
100%.
this is duplication. This is where it's at. Yeah, I think this is awesome. Thank you for going through this, Gili.
Absolutely. And I do have a Word doc that I can email to you with maybe some information on there that we can take highlights and send somebody out like a little study sheet as to how to do it or where to go, or, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So that would be beneficial for anybody. I can definitely do that. Any other questions, comments, anything about the mobile FNA, concerns?
Joe?
I'll just second that, what Taylor said. I think this is a great idea. Because I think I've lost business, you know, trying to do the fold and waiting and all that stuff. So I think this is great.
It's gonna be nice.
Absolutely.
All about
good
big
to-
events. This is what happens. And let's give a shout out first off to our vice president, okay? Because I know people who have been doing something for a long time and it works for them and won't change. Gili, you as our leader who has committed to building it big, 6 regional vice presidents in 2024, and are taking this shit by the horns and saying, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to make this update so that we can all make money and build it big, is a huge deal. So please give a round of applause to our leader, because this is a major, major deal. Stepping outside to be able to make it happen. Thank you for that, Gili.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you from, first person experience, I agree with, when Joe had said, especially for people who don't have a lot, right? That the younger, now I think that the full comprehensive FNA is the best thing. That was my first experience to Primerica, was the FNA had just come out. And when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing. And at the time it was even more in depth, and there's papers and craziness, and it was awful, but it still was amazing to me. But I did, like, once that the mobile FNA came out, I started meeting with some of my younger clients. I met with one family friend, sat down with them in a matter of 30 minutes, showed him a brief overview as to what we do. And we did the mobile FNA, did his life insurance and an investment that day at the coffee shop, because that's how quickly it can happen.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
People can see that that can happen within an hour and a half, meeting with somebody, where you literally not only have the presentation, they know fully what we do, they now have their financial independence number, and they have implemented with their insurance and their investments in a matter. And I did that before the life and the easy key and all that were connected, and it was still a pretty quick and easy process.
That's awesome.
Right? So the key is to use it, it's to play with it, it's to understand it, it's to work. Nothing that we practice on unless we practice it, we're not going to become masters at it. I don't want you to practice with a client watching you. I want you to practice, go through some of the contacts that you have on your list, right? And just type in some of their information, see what that looks like, go through it. Don't practice on an interview with somebody, right? It's important to make sure that we show them, we know how simple it is, but it's important to make sure that it looks simple while you're doing it. And literally, once you do something 3 to 5 times, Janice, 3 to 5 times, you're a freaking pro. That's it. So I hope that you guys got some benefit from this training, and
for sure.
And I want to remind you that after we do that, like, here's the other thing. Oh, that's what let me look at my notes quick before I wrap up, because I had
While you pull
I
up your
had,
notes, I'm going to tell, just so
yeah,
that
go
you
ahead.
guys can know what to expect while you're pulling up your notes. This is going to my cloud. I am going to upload it to YouTube by the end of day. It usually takes 2 hours to upload. I will post this on the channel. There is no training on POL for the mobile FNA from what I found on demand. So the only training that you are going to get is by watching this video repeatedly, this recording with Geely, taking notes and practicing on your own. Okay, please do that because you do not want to look silly, like we said. So I will make sure to get this video ASAP to everybody. Okay, so we're gonna get taken care of. Ready, Geely?
Thank you. Okay, so the last couple of things, I'm just looking through my notes, which I will send you. Um, Obviously, the mobile FNA is good for all clients as an eye opener to the power of what we do, right? Especially those without mortgage, high debts, multiple obligations, people that are young, single, little to no existing retirement savings or current life insurance. That is the easiest, right? Now, we can utilize that for all people. For sure, we can. If somebody, though, is in a couple, if they're in a couple and you're meeting with just one of them, I am not going to go through all of that information. We could go right to the investment part and we can show them, hey, do you want to know your financial independence number? Give them a baby glimpse, right? But then tell them they need their spouse on to be able to go through everything else.
Okay.
Otherwise, we're just going to, we're not, then now they have numbers and now they're going to Google stuff. And then, you just want to get make sure the spouse is with them if we're doing this and they're married.
Okay.
I'm just looking here. There was a couple things. Okay. So the other big thing that I wanted to address is, let's say you're talking to somebody and you ask them, to come up with a game plan for all aspects of your financial situation. How much on a monthly basis can you free up? Could you, your take home is 2,400. Could you do 10% of that? And they say, no, we're maxed out. I can't do $25. Then in that moment, what do?
Express empathy first. Don't make them feel like crap. And then recruit my ass off.
Recruit them. Recruit them, man.
That's it. That's it. Now, there is a question that you can also ask. And that question is, if you were to assess your monthly spending, are there any possible frivolous expenses that you're not taking into consideration, or any extras, right, that you're maybe not thinking of? And we can talk about, I do budgets with people. Now, I would first focus on the opportunity. Are you open to an opportunity? If they say no, they're not, or they can't for whatever excuse, the next question, would you be willing to sit down, maybe do a little bit more of a comprehensive game plan and take a look at your budget? If they say no, we're not running their numbers. And I'm not running their
Yes,
numbers
Lord.
I'm not running their numbers not to be a snot. It's not what it's about, but they have to want it more than I want it for them.
Say
I've
that.
met with so many people that I want it more for them than they want it for themselves. And that's a waste of your time.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste of my time. It's a waste of our time. Okay. But if somebody is willing to sit down, if you ask them, are there any additional frivolous expenses that you may, spend on a monthly basis? And they're like, they get defensive or absolutely not or whatever. My day is done. Okay. I love you. Good luck to your future. Let me know if you run across anybody. Who
That's
can you
right.
think of? Who can you think of that is really focused on their financial future and, would want a game plan? Get a referral, move through it, and don't take that crap personally, because this software that we have at our fingertips is unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. We have the ability to change people's lives. I used to say in the stroke of a pen, but on the click of a mouse or the touch of a screen, we can change people's lives from today and tomorrow. Now, okay, one last thing before I wrap up this part. If someone says to me, Joe, you know what? now if they have dependents and or are married, right? And I'm with them and they say to me, you know, I just really want to focus on my investments and let's get that going. My response is this. You told me that you could commit $200 to your financial plan, right? The insurance is $65. If I set up that investment for you today for $240 and we get you set up for your Roth IRA and something happens to you last week, what's your family have?
$240, and that's it.
If we get that life insurance set up today, I know it's $65. I know that you might not see that you have a huge need today, but your life is going to change. Your life is going to change, right? You're at the beginning of your whole financial game plan. If we set up that same $240 today, but we put $60 towards your life insurance and the $190 or whatever it is, $180 towards your investments, something happens to you, your family has $250,000. Can you see the power in that? Okay. And they say, yes, but you know what? I just really don't want to do that. Okay. Like, okay. You're not them. Which means if we've done all we can do and they still want to set up the investment, you don't want to be a brat and be like, well, I'm not writing your investment until you do insurance. Of course, we're going to freaking, okay, well, let's set up the time. We'll get together next week or, you know, put it on your schedule. And then we can round back and talk about the insurance in the future. I mean, let's get them to be a client. They're going to be better off whether just by being a client of yours. They're going to get regular newsletters. They're going to hear all about this. You're going to follow up with them every 6 to 12 months. At some point, they're going to get married. They're going to buy a house maybe, and they're going to want some life insurance. And who are they going to call? Not the person who was a jackass and said, I'm not going to write your investments unless you get insurance. They're going to call you because you got their back no matter what. You with me? Focus
Yes.
on what's important and fully make sure that we do whatever that client wants. Okay. Questions,
Okay.
comments? Sorry, Mike and April. I knew I threw out some couple words. I forgot you got little babies there.
That's okay. They're playing in the bedroom. They can't hear it.
Okay, good. Any comments, questions before we wrap up?